Guest inherited a captivating clock from their father-in-law, a treasured piece passed down through generations.
Found it upside down on its back with its legs off on top of the pantry, and I asked him about it, and he said I should take it home. But it really was his father's clock.
The clock's history traced back to the late 19th century when the guest's Irish ancestor, a lover of antiques, acquired it in New York City. The clock, crafted by the renowned London clockmaker Thomas Weeks, stood out for its unique French-inspired design. Unlike typical London-made clocks, this piece featured 3 hands, including a center sweep second hand, showcasing the maker's innovation and technical prowess. The clock's base boasted a combination of satinwood and ebony, with remnants of a brighter gilding hinting at its former glory. While missing a finial and exhibiting some wear, the overall condition remained good. Thomas Weeks wasn't just a clockmaker. He was an artist who produced not only beautiful clocks, but also intricate mechanisms worthy of a natural history museum. The clock's superior escapement and the high-quality engraving on the movement further solidified its status as a masterpiece. The value of the clock was equally impressive. In its current condition, it was estimated to fetch around
I'd expect to see this clock sell for about $6,000 retail.
Guest brought in a guitar cherished by their mother, a first-grade school teacher who had likely acquired it in the late 1930s. The original $125 price tag from a local store provided a glimpse into the past. Upon closer inspection, the guitar turned out to be a much older instrument, dating back to the mid-1890s. Crafted from Brazilian rosewood by the esteemed C.F. Martin Guitar Company, the guitar boasted exceptional features like a beautiful herringbone trim, a pyramid bridge, and a spruce top. Some clues led to the guitar's age, including the use of an amber finish instead of a clear shellac finish typically of earlier models, and the presence of mechanical tuners instead of ivory tuners. The lack of a pick guard, introduced around 1930, further supported the pre-1930s dating. Despite being over 110 years old, the guitar remained in excellent condition, playable, and exhibiting minimal wear. The guest, who initially thought the guitar might be worth $800 to $1,000 based on a past estimate, was pleasantly surprised to learn that its true value in today's market is...
In this market, I would put the insurance value of this guitar between $6,000 and $7,000.
Excellent.
These timeless treasures are not just playthings, they are portals to a bygone era of whimsy and wonder. These items were inherited by the guest from her mother. Furthermore, these cat-looking toys were made by a German firm called Gebrüder Haumbach around 1910. They each measure around 6.5 inches tall, and 3 of them were presented on the show. The heads of these toys were made of bisque, while their bodies were made from papier-mâché, and they are clothed in their original cotton playsuits. It's very rare to find pieces like these, let alone 3 at the same time.
I hardly ever see them. And then to see 3 all together was just such a perfect joy.
Looking at the gray cat toy in such pristine condition, at auction, it would be worth around...
One gray cat would be worth $2,300.
The white cat toy, also well preserved, would easily be valued at auction at around...
The little white cat is also valued at $2,300.
Finally, the black-colored cat toy has a little damage on its ear, but regardless, at auction, it would fetch a value of...
So as a set, they're worth about $7,000.
Altogether, this intricately made pieces, and in such good condition, are really valuable, and at auction, they would fetch a value of around...
The set are around $8,000 or even more.
Oh my goodness.
You never see them.
Today on the show, we revisit a time of simpler happiness and boundless creativity as we explore 2 delightful old friends. Brought for our guests by her parents, they are a pair of dolls called Raggedy Ann and Andy, created by Johnny Gruelle, American artist, political cartoonist, children's book and comics author, illustrator, and storyteller.
Even as a promotional,
Right.
to sell his books.
Good. Well, his name was Johnny Gruelle.
Yeah.
The Raggedy Ann character was created in 1915 as a doll and made its debut in the 1918 book Raggedy Ann Stories, while Raggedy Andy was introduced as her brother character in 1920. We can see signs of age, but there's a certain warmth in their eyes, along with their wear and tear, that adds to their charm. With popularity everywhere, even as far east as Japan,
Sought after actually all over the world, even in Japan. And Raggedy Ann and Andy are extremely popular in Japan.
This item, keeping a piece of childhood wonder, memories, stories, and love, would be valued at,
I put a value on them from safely $4,000 to $5,000 for the pair.
Oh, well, that's...
So they've gone up in price in their life.
Today, we are catapulted to 1820 with a piece representative of that period. It had been in the guest's family for a long time, and were originally earrings that were once paired with a devant de corsage, a fashionable accessory from the Belle Epoque era, adorned with dazzling diamonds.
It would have been a pair of earrings, and it would have had a top to it as well.
It maintains its sparkle and radiance, a tribute to the craftsmanship and expertise of the artisans who crafted it, with flawless, handcrafted artistry at the back, lending it a unique charm and character.
Craftsmanship at the back of this is absolutely faultless. This was all hand done.
Set in silver, hinting at a more classic style of jewelry crafting. Central diamond, remarkable at just over 3.5 carats, capturing attention with its impressive size and sparkle. The handcrafted silver setting perfectly complements it, letting the diamond's brilliance shine brightly. This piece symbolizes lasting skill, the timeless charm of gems, and a bygone era, making it worth,
I would say you're looking at a region of about £30,000 to £40,000.
Dynamic, humorous, and captivating. This comic masterpiece is a must-have for any collection. Comic pieces like this, created by Charles Schulz for peanuts, holds significant cultural and artistic value. They often serve as reflections of society, offering commentary on social issues, human nature, and everyday life. This piece was given to the guest by Schulz himself, whom he had worked with for 12 years.
Some of the original strips and some of the original artwork. This was a group of drawings that he did for a product we called Snoopy's Daily Dozen. It was an exercise booklet.
Schulz was an American cartoonist who created Peanuts, one of the most successful American comic strips of the mid-20th century. Comics such as this can evoke emotions and provide humor, serving as a form of entertainment accessible to a wide audience. This piece features key characters like Snoopy, Charlie, Linus, and Lucy, Sunday pages being the most desirable among collectors. Additionally, comic art is a unique form of storytelling, combining visual and textual elements to create engaging narratives. At auction, these pieces combined would sell for,
you add it all up, I wouldn't be surprised to see you come out anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 on a piece-by-piece basis. Absolutely not.
The guest showcased William Perry's portrait and pistols, who happened to be his great-grandfather. This portrait depicts Perry as a surgeon's mate aboard the Endeavour during Captain Cook's first voyage around the world from 1768 to 1771.
You observe the transit of Venus across the sun. Then they were to sail on and verify the existence of
The portrait is believed to be in the style of an early Chinese artist, Spoilum, and shows the Endeavour in the background.
Canton to paint European subjects on canvas. This particular painting is on wood, but this is very much in the style of Spoilum's paintings.
Perry's role in the expedition was significant, as it was one of the first long-distance voyages in which scurvy was not a problem due to the crew's healthy diet. Pistols accompanying the portrait made by William Bond are stamped with his London address and highly desirable among collectors, which adds to the overall value of the collection. Although the painting's frame was repainted, due to its association with Perry, the portrait and pistols combined would fetch for,
we're looking at a value of somewhere between $13,000 and $15,000 for an auction estimate for the package here.
Thank you. I'm very glad to know that.
Our guest acquired this map at an auction operated by the Vermont Historical Society, where people donated items for sale. The guest, a graduate student in history who later joined the CIA, emphasized the importance of maps for travelers, especially those working in intelligence around the world. The map, dated 1848 and made in Hartford, shows the United States during a crucial period of westward expansion. It depicts the changing landscape of the West, with territories like the Indian Territory, which later became Oklahoma, and the evolving borders of Texas after its annexation in 1845. The map highlights the Missouri Territory and the movements of Native American tribes from the east to the Indian Territory, reflecting the historical context of the time.
That was a time after 1800 when they started moving the tribes from the east and they moved them west. And you can see it's really a very large territory.
Despite some inaccuracies, such as showing parts of Mexico still under Mexican control, the map provides a valuable snapshot of American history during the mid-19th century. Acquired 15 to 20 years ago for slightly over $200, the map is now valued at around...
You bought this at auction how long ago?
15 to 20 years.
Our shop, I would probably put about $1,600 on it. So, which is a pretty good increase over 200.
These chargers were brought here from Italy, where our guest was raised in a big villa that her dad had purchased. She had brought them to the United States around 25 years ago. These chargers are 19th century copies of Italian Renaissance Mollica chargers, made of Italian pottery. They feature scenes of gods and goddesses in various pursuits, typical of the Italian Renaissance style. These chargers likely dated from the 1870s, 1880s, or 1890s and were old when they were put into the house, which was built around 1940. Decorative motifs on the rims include grotesques, arabesques, masks, and figures of nude putti. They were originally intended for decoration rather than practical use. These large chargers measuring 24 inches are heavy and valued between...
At auction, you would expect this to bring around $1,800 to $2,000.
Oh, really? That's okay.
These military watches crafted by Hamilton in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, were essential timepieces during their service in World War II. Featuring the renowned 4992B movement specially made for the U.S. government, these watches were reliable and accurate, vital for military operations. In 2005, these historic timepieces were valued at auction between $1,000 and $1,500. This charming tea table, purchased by the guest at an antique shop in Chattanooga, Tennessee 25 to 30 years ago, has a rich history and exquisite craftsmanship. Featuring a spade foot, also known as a slipper foot, this table likely hails from Ireland. The table's design includes a bulged apron with sea scrolls, typical of Irish tables, and is made primarily of mahogany, a common material for Irish furniture of this era. Despite missing its original tray molding, which would have added functionality for holding items securely, this tea table is valued at approximately...
Like this, with this tray molding missing, is probably worth $4,000.
If the missing molding were replaced, enhancing both its aesthetic and practical appeal, its value could increase to around...
And probably in somebody's shop, it would probably be worth $6,500 or $7,000.
Wow.
Because it just looked nicer. It would give some definition to that edge.
This vase, or ewer, was given to me on my 18th Christmas by my mother, who purchased it in a white elephant sale. This piece, made by Mount Washington Glass, is called Royal Flemish.
Is the most exotic of all the Mount Washington pieces, and it's called Royal Flemish.
It features designs of banners and shields around the top, a rare pattern. Despite not being signed, this piece stands on its own with its exquisite beauty. It has beautiful gilding and gold work all around, and when cleaned up and held to the light, it's like looking through a stained glass window. This particular piece has a twisted rope handle, adding to its unique and luxurious appearance. Appraised 25 years ago at $335, its current retail value...
In the retail market, in the $8,000 to $10,000 range. Goodness!
This Mandola belongs to our guest's husband, and they have been together for over 40 years. It has gone everywhere with her husband, although he's never played it. When her husband was about 13, he was in a folk rock band and traded one of his guitars for this Mandola.
Exchange, and so he gave him this. My husband's just simply carried this around with him. He's never played it.
The Lyon and Healy Company of Chicago made this Mandola, which is related to the mandolin, but with a larger body.
They came out with this very novel shape, which has very sloping shoulders, so that the player can have access to the very highest frets.
It features a unique shape with sloping shoulders for access to the highest frets and a symmetrical design. This particular Mandola is extremely rare, with only about 10 made, of which this is number 5. It has a spruce top, an ebony fingerboard inlaid with mother of pearl, and a beautifully flamed tiger maple back and sides stained to look like walnut. The faceplate is made of some kind of hard rubber, adding to its unique character. Based on its rarity and condition, I would place the auction value of this mandola at...
So I will place an auction value of this instrument at $5,000 to $7,000.
The Kestner Swivel Head Porcelain Doll, 1855, stands as a significant piece in doll-making history. Crafted by the esteemed Kestner Porcelain Factory in mid-19th century Germany, known for exceptional quality. The doll's nodding head adds a touch of realism and charm, setting it apart from its contemporaries. This doll was crafted in Germany from the late 1840s to the late 1850s. Following the 1850s, heels became a common feature in shoes of the era. The porcelain's delicate beauty and durability make these dolls highly prized by collectors.
1,000 shows up with a swivel head, so you have something very unusual here.
The porcelain doll left the appraiser in awe as they valued the item.
Here, I would say she's between $4,000 and $5,000. Wow. So,
A pair of pistols was presented by the guest, which belonged to her grandfather. Initially, the pistols were assumed to be English dueling pistols. However, upon examination by the appraiser, it was revealed that they were German, dating to the mid-19th century. The casing of the pistol was English and labeled William Dooley from Liverpool. Contrary to the guest's belief, the pistols were not dueling pistols, but typical target pistols. The appraiser pointed out features like rifling and sight-adjusting management, indicating its type.
Is right here, you'll see behind the sight, there's a little nut there for adjusting the actual level of the sight.
Okay.
The item also bore a gold mark that read Krauss in Hertzberg, revealing its origin. How much would the worth be, including the casing?
The pistols themselves are probably $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, okay.
With the case, you may be able to add another $1,000.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
The family heirloom from guests' grandparents. They had a store near Cache in Oklahoma, near Medicine Park. Our guest believed it was traded for goods at their store, probably from the 1930s. This piece is Comanche. It is from around Cache, Oklahoma. The back features a vinyl-looking material, which is not leather, indicating its origin. This toy baby cradle was made by prominent Comanche beadworkers.
Two prominent Comanche beadworkers that used that kind of material and made some of these toy cradles.
A common practice to enhance them with decorative elements like yarn. The doll inside the cradle is a composition doll from the same time period, valued at around $50. However, if the cradle were to be sold as is, it could fetch
exactly as it is. I would say $14,000 to $16,000.
Whoa, that's not too shabby.
Conservative.
The guest presented a chair acquired from a local dealer a year ago. The appraiser noted that it was rare to find furniture with signatures. One of them was a label from L&JG Stickley Furniture Company, indicating that it was made between 1912 and 1920. Additionally, it had stamped Breakers Cottages, possibly by the Preservation Society or the Vanderbilt family. Despite the Stickley association, the chair's oak construction suggested it was utilitarian. The appraiser suggested that the chair probably came from Stickley Furniture's later production line.
Grandfather of the arts and crafts movement, he made very expensive furniture. His brothers then went on to make a little more pedestrian furniture, more affordable.
Originally bought for $750, the appraised value was around...
I paid $750 for it. Well, I would probably insure this in the range of $800 to $1,200. Oh, great.
Basket with a fascinating story. This basket was acquired by the guest's wife's grandfather as a prize for a poker game he won while on a train from Colorado to Illinois. This was back in the 1920s, and it had been in her family for about 100 years. It is an Apache Ola basket. It was made by the Apache people. The Apache are several southern Athabascan language-speaking peoples of the Southwest, the Southern Plains, and northern Mexico. Many of these large grain baskets were made. They were made to carry corn.
These very large grain baskets. These were to hold corn, and they're so heavy and so big, most of them have fallen apart.
Dates to around the 1900s, as baskets of this scale were first made after the 1880s. The shape of this vessel is called an Ola in Spanish.
It also applies to pottery. It has to do with it. It's a storage container in this shape with a narrower neck.
The decorations are all classic, creating a beautiful piece.
The grain, which would have been corn kernels, tends to stretch them out, and they get much more misshapen.
Most baskets have fewer decorations compared to this basket. It is also a little skewered. This is a result of a natural process of gravity and the weight of the materials it carries.
Places where the little, we call them ticks, but they're little strips.
However, it is in pretty good shape, with very little shifting over its 100 years of existence. A lot of time and energy goes into making these baskets. At auction, this lovely basket is valued at about...
If it came up for auction today, I would expect it to bring $30,000 to $40,000.
We have here a unique and historically significant item at an auction, a light canvas cape, possibly from World War I. This piece is incredibly rare and is such an item that gets discarded. It has an inscription on it by the previous owner, Private Skinner, and this adds a layer of historical context. The design of the cape, with an arm opening specifically for holding and firing a rifle, points towards its likely use as military equipment during World War I. Due to its unique historical value, the cape's worth is estimated at
£250.
Eventually, it is sold for a low price of...
Go on then. Probably ask 100 quid for it.
Yeah. You weren't surprised.
This guest brings a continental porcelain coffee service to the show. This set belonged to her stepfather's family, who brought it over from Paris in 1929. This service is of German origin. It's a Berlin service in a classical design dating to around 1815. The royal scepter mark is located underneath this saucer.
This is the royal scepter mark. The company was founded in 1752. And about 1763, it was taken over by courtly patronage.
These items were often decorated with scenic designs and sometimes with portraits. One important property of this service is its completeness. All of the items in the set are available. Another is the beautiful decorations on it.
The other thing that I think we'll notice is the wonderful decoration of it, whether it's the very rich gold tone finish or whether it's the slate blue, the russet colors.
This Egyptian motif was also very important, as it was a prominent theme. All these elements combined to create this wonderful piece. It is valued at about...
Really a very fabulous set. I think that at auction would probably fetch in the area of $6,000 to $8,000.
Take a good look at this large, leather-painted beautiful room screen. The screen size is impressive, capable of covering an entire wall, providing a grand and decorative statement piece. Its vibrant hand-painted country scenes on a leather background make it visually striking. The scenes themselves offer a glimpse into a bygone era, depicting idyllic landscapes populated with hens, birds, animals, and people. This combination of size, craftsmanship, and captivating imagery makes the room screen a truly special item. The screen is Italian and is believed to date back to the 19th century. At auction, it is estimated to be worth
£1,500.
Great size, really tall.
This guest brings a vintage carved folk art cane for appraisal. The cane belonged to her husband's uncle, who carved it in the early 30s. He was from Eastern Oregon. This cane is also a transitional piece between the 19th and 20th centuries.
Wonderful that we actually know the maker of the cane. These things become almost a personal totem of the person's life.
Special cane, as it was mentioned in this letter from Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium. The letter states that the cane was displayed in the auditorium during the Chicago World's Fair in 1934.
Believe It or Not auditorium, ODD-atorium, in the Chicago World's Fair in 1934.
It is carved from a single piece of wood. The exact wood type is difficult to ascertain, but it is believed to be mahogany. The top of the cane shows this wonderful salamander design. Also, his signature is present on the cane with the date 1933. At the top of the cane, there's a symbol of the elk. This indicates that he was a member of the Elks organization.
Is the symbol of the elk. So he was a member of the Elks.
There are also great hunting scenes depicted along the length of the cane.
When we start to go down the cane, we see the carving of Buffalo Bill.
This is a truly incredible work of art.
Insuring this in $5,000 range.
Okay. That's awesome.
The guest admires a collection of old decoy ducks. These ducks are unlike any others seen before. Crafted with removable and movable heads, they offer a surprising level of detail and functionality. The original paint, though aged and worn, adds to their charm and authenticity, hinting at the many hunts they may have participated in. A particularly impressive feat is the large number of English decoys in the collection, a rare sight since these were traditionally made in America. Decoy ducks, originally used by hunters to lure real ducks within range, have transcended their practical purpose to become valuable collector's items. They are even displayed in museums and celebrated at festivals, a testament to the artistry and skill involved in their creation. This particular set of 5 is estimated to be worth
£1,500.
Recognizing their potential value, the seller negotiates a successful purchase for
do 280. Yeah, sweet. Okay. They're nice, aren't they?
Step into the world of timeless elegance and historical charm as we unravel the stories woven into every brushstroke and curve of this vintage treasure. This beautiful pottery jug belonged to the guest's grandfather, who received it from a friend. This is a beautifully designed piece.
Magenta color, which is very interesting and very unusual, though they're also very popular.
There is a fabulous transfer on this side with emblems of Freemasonry. However, there are so many emblems present in the jug, which makes it hard to be specific. This jug is in a lovely pearlware glaze. If the puddling was yellowish, it would have been called creamware. These were the 2 different glazes that were put over earthenware bodies. The jug is believed to have been done at the Herculaneum factory.
Herculaneum was known for doing these wonderful transfer prints on these nice early jugs.
The spout is a noteworthy feature of this jug. The wonderful emblem of the American eagle is surrounded by this inscription with the date 1804 below it.
So that was for the election year, and it really dates the jug. The value changes dramatically when you talk about historically important jugs.
This significantly increases the value of the jug, given its historical significance as an American artifact.
And American historical jugs have an added importance. If these just had the Masonic emblems on either side,
in this pristine state, it is valued at about,
on a collectors, people collecting American commemoratives, I would expect it to sell in the range of $2,000 to $4,000.
Wow, that's nice to learn.
We have a rare and coveted item up for sale at an auction. This is a familiar sight, a Ladbroke Grove sign. This sign holds a special significance for the appraiser, who has previously fielded inquiries about buying it, even from people as far away as Germany. The bronze frame and its connection to the popular Ladbroke Grove area further enhance its appeal. The sign is an absolutely iconic piece of design. The design is of historical significance with how the underground roundel has become a globally recognized symbol of London since its creation in 1908. This particular sign is dated to the mid-20th century, likely used as a platform sign. The appraised estimate value is
around £3,000.
However, this piece was secured for
$1,500 for it. You sure about that?
Cozy and comfy Scandinavian modern furniture piece belonged to none other than famous designer Christian Siriano.
Especially what's been happening at auctions since the time of COVID, prices are much, much higher.
Yeah.
He purchased it from a dealer in New Jersey, one of the first pieces he bought for his house. He mentioned the furniture's loose cushions, appreciating the option to create a daybed or chaise feeling. The appraiser praised the enduring popularity of this style of furniture, emphasizing its craftsmanship and functionality. Siriano disclosed paying about $10,000 for it, primarily for its upholstery. Despite uncertainty about the maker, the appraiser estimated its value at,
I would probably, just as a guess, as an auction estimate, say $3,000 to $5,000, $4,000 to $6,000. Okay. And my estimates tend to be on the conservative side.
All right.
The guest spotted a pair of Georgian open armchairs. While the chairs clearly needed new upholstery, their potential was undeniable. The rich mahogany frames boasted beautiful molded details, and their classic style resonated deeply with the guest's taste. The provenance also piqued his interest. These chairs had graced a listed building, hinting at a long and storied past. Recognizing their quality and potential value, the estimated worth of each chair is
around £150.
Despite their evident charm and history, the two elegant 200-year-old armchairs were bought at auction for.
Just got one bargain that I didn't come here for. Starts happening again.
Today,
I can't believe
guest brought kachinas, one from Chicago and two from an Indian market. Kachinas are grouped into three categories: those designed for teaching, those crafted to appear aged but aren't, and contemporary ones produced for sale. Contemporary kachinas can fetch high prices, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars. These kachinas are hemi-kachinas, associated with ensuring a good corn crop. Symbols of fertility and clouds adorn the kachinas. Despite their authentic appearance, all three kachinas are revealed to be reproductions. Issues with the painting and carving suggest they're not genuine. Elongated shape of one kachina is stylistically incorrect. There has been a trend since the 1950s of creating old-looking kachinas for the market. Value of each reproduction is estimated to be
30s or a 40s kachina. It easily could have been $20,000, $25,000. Fresh paint.
Yeah, I don't like the new kachinas either. I've got a collection of...
Attention shifts to this pollard oak writing table with unique fruitwood handles and a single drawer, which is such a superior piece. The table is a standout item. This diminutive, aesthetic movement desk is constructed with pollard oak, a high-quality wood. The craftsmanship is just exquisite, evident in details like the fruitwood handles and single drawer. The table was made by B. Taylor & Son of London in 1870 and was completely original and unrestored. Based on these factors, the estimated value of the table is
£2.5 grand. Really?
However, at auction, the table eventually sells for
At £1,300, is there any more?
The figure in my head that I would have paid was £2,500 plus the commission.
It is not often we see a book which has a humanitarian purpose behind its creation. This piece was purchased online by the guest who was an archaeologist. It was published by the Tesk Pueblo Indian School back in the 1930s. The teacher and students put the book together, and the students drew and colored the maps.
So it's a book that was produced in 1936 by the third grade students.
What's fascinating about the creation of this piece was that they didn't have enough money to publish it, so they used their food money for a month to buy a mimeograph machine. Quite remarkably, this piece was crafted to help the students learn English and overcome their fear of books. Also, in the process of creating the book, they created mimeographed pages and a series of 10 maps.
I'm interested in reading. These Native American schools, the Indian schools, were very controversial, are controversial.
The map features a rose compass with a Zuni symbol on it and hand illustrations by the children. A piece that holds important virtue and expresses the cultural heritage of the Native Americans like this is a good addition to any collection that's valued at,
In an auction context, I would say it'd probably have an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow. This is a lucky find at an auction. This is a pair of magnificent scientific magnifying glasses. The weight is impressive, and by the lack of wear on the magnifying glasses, it indicates their exceptional condition. They are further distinguished by their origin, having been crafted by a renowned London maker, Stanley London, in 1872. The desirability of the magnifying glasses, due to their high quality, English origin, and mid-19th century dating, places them at an estimated value of
worth around £250.
However, the guest acquires them for a mere
200. Sold. This is going. This is very
It's a journey to an ancient culture on this episode with a piece from China. Our guest's father bought it in China in 1931 to 1932. It's a statue of a Chinese goddess named Guanyin, characterized by wearing long robes and raising a hand.
Brought it back from China. He just loved her when he walked in and saw her.
This is the figure of the goddess of mercy.
A bronze statue with silver wire on the edges of the clothes and in the body, telling you the level of work put into it. With an inscription written in Chinese at the front and back, oftentimes telling who made the figure, and done in scriptures like this in Chinese culture.
Most of the time, these inscriptions will be who the figure is or some aspect of the figure.
The writing says Sisu, lion's head in English, and means it's a shisu vessel or figure.
And that is the name Shurso, S-H-I-S-O-U. So we often describe these as Shurso vessels or figures, but it's a particular workshop that was active in China.
Shisu figures were made by a workshop in China from the 17th century onwards. This one is from the 19th century. The piece, a beautifully cast figure that's still in great condition and shape, is what people are looking for in the marketplace today, and in an auction sale would go between,
I think in an auction sale, it would make between $8,000 and $12,000.
We have a rather battered pine chest of drawers. While initially considered junk due to its worn condition, the chest's true value lies in its history. The chest is identified as having belonged to Moorshead Boarding House at Winchester College in 1860. The numerous carvings, identified as the names and dates of former students, old Weecombius, add a layer of historical significance and personal stories to the piece. This provenance transforms the seemingly ordinary chest into a unique and charming artifact. Despite its rough appearance, the chest is estimated to be worth
£580.
At the auction, it sells for a much lower price of
£150 last time.
Excellent. Bit of luck for it. Just go straight in. Just pick one.
given to the guest by her father. Today's item is a special jade piece on a bronze shaft with turquoise, gold, and silver designs.
Items from.
This is a jade point set into a bronze shaft.
With mythical Chinese creations of dragons and other fantastic animals incorporated into its intricate design. It's clear that it wasn't meant for hunting, but for rituals.
The holes there, exactly. This was meant for ritual purposes.
Made in the Zhou Dynasty, which dates from 1046 to 770 BC, the Zhou Dynasty was China's longest lasting. It's likely to have been buried in tombs from that time period and only unearthed in the late 19th century because of the constructions of railways. This explains why it's rare, as most of the pieces like it have not retained the jade spare point or had been destroyed. A piece from the 19th century and from one of the greatest dynasties, often considered to be the zenith of Chinese bronzeware in today's market, would be valued at.
You are great. It's worth about $20,000 to $30,000
Wow, wonderful.
This set of 4 silver decanter labels, shaped like scallop shells, are definitely eye-catchers. They are not only beautiful, but also very practical. Made from silver by a London craftsman in the early 1970s, they are exactly the kind of unique and well-made gift that would be treasured by anyone. At an initial bid of only £150, it is believed to be significantly undervalued. After bidding, the guest secures the piece for
$180 is there now?
Well, that's a gift. I could weigh them in for more than that. So, yeah, happy day.
The guest, a former quality control inspector at North American Aviation, brought in a collection of space memorabilia. Having personally witnessed this historic era and befriended some of the astronauts, the guest's passion for space exploration was evident. One of the fascinating items was a jacket, a prized possession from his time working at North American Aviation. It's valued at a surprising...
If I estimated at auction today, I would guess it would sell for between $3,000 and $5,000.
Even more captivating was a model of the Apollo spacecraft signed by 15 astronauts. The guest explained how he had earned their signatures through his personal connections, fostering a unique camaraderie during a momentous chapter in human history. Impressed by the signatures that included Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the conservative estimated value of the piece is...
If we estimated this at auction today, I think conservatively it would carry an estimate between $20,000 and $30,000.
The guest also presented 2 seemingly insignificant items, a burnt-up sticker and a label with a serial number. These were remnants from the Apollo 11 spacecraft, the very vessel that took the first humans to the moon. These seemingly mundane objects, when combined at auction, could fetch a staggering
The serial number label off the inside of the capsule door. If we offered the 2 stickers together, you would see those with an estimate of between $30,000 and $50,000.
These artifacts have immense significance to space enthusiasts and collectors, as they represented tangible pieces of history from a groundbreaking mission. Combining all the items, the total appraised value is a remarkable.
I'm donating this to my niece, so she'll be happy to hear that.
The total here would be between $53,000 and $85,000.
That's amazing.
The guest admires a sleek lamp on the desk, identifying it as a work of Oscar Telasco, a well-respected mid-century Italian lighting designer. Telasco's designs range from futuristic space age to classic Art Deco. This particular lamp, crafted in the 1960s, features a black cast iron base and an opaline glass shade. The appraised estimated value is
£400.
However, upon closer inspection, it's realized that the lamp needs rewiring, bringing the price down to a final agreed price of
170. You have to rewire.
Yeah.
Guest inherited a beautiful set of silver horse figurines from their grandparents, who had acquired them during their travels in Asia following World War II. The figurines are Japanese, dating back to the late 19th or early 20th century. The exquisite craftsmanship of the horses was attributed to the tradition of metalworking in Japan, honed by swordsmiths during the Meihei period and beyond. The intricate details, evident even in the horseshoes, showcase the exceptional skill of the artisan. Beyond the figurines themselves, the stand holding them also held artistic value. Crafted from Asian hardwood, it was adorned with a special type of gilded gold lacquer, a complex and delicate technique. The well-preserved condition of the stand, considering the fragility of the lacquer work, further enhanced the overall value of the piece. Taking all these factors into account, the estimated value of the set, including the figurines and the stand, is worth a remarkable.
I think an auction sale today, these would make around $4,000 to $6,000.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's great.
This right here is a hidden gem, a simple yet elegant Irish card table crafted from solid mahogany. This piece, unlike many others, had never been altered or restored, showcasing its original beauty in all its glory. The table's charm was undeniable, with its beautiful molded carvings and padded feet. It is a must-have piece and is estimated to be worth
£1,600.
Despite the factors mentioned earlier, the piece sold at auction for
£720. We're all done then at $720 and selling.
Just about to knock it, I put my number up and he knocks it straight down to me at $720.
The guest brought in a Victorian Renaissance revival table, a style known for its extravagance. This item dates from the early 1860s to the 1870s. This era prized ornateness in furniture design, and the more elaborate the piece, the more valuable it was considered. Recognizing the intricate details and overall grandeur of the table, the tables have a surprisingly high estimated value. The table could potentially fetch between
Of $12,000, maybe as much as $15,000.
That much.
However, in recent valuations, the value of this beautiful piece has depreciated to $4,000 to $6,000. Here is a unique and delightful pair of lamp stands that the guest connects with immediately. The lamp stand is from the prestigious Dorchester Hotel in London, which adds a layer of allure and exclusivity. They are carved softwood, and then they've been painted and lacquered. It is a perfect combination of size, width, height, and color, dating all the way back to the 1930s. These unique lamp stands have an appraised value of
around £500.
However, the lamp is sold to the guest for
Charlie, 180 the pair.
Fine, sold. £180 the pair. Shake the man's hand. We'll have those all day long.
inherited a set of intriguing miniature stoves from her grandfather, a traveling salesman. She had had them since childhood and used to play with them. The larger stove, though technically not a salesman's sample, was likely used to showcase the features of the full-sized product. It is more of a child's size and is called Bose Jr. No. 4. Despite missing a few parts, it's in overall good condition.
Ice was installed. Here we have the shelves.
However, the smaller stove was the real showstopper. This miniature icebox, meticulously crafted with incredibly fine details, is unlike anything you have ever seen before. From the compartments for ice and shelves to the cleverly designed drain, this miniature replica boasted exceptional quality. Recognizing its rarity and intricate craftsmanship, the assigned value is at
The stove, even though I don't consider it a salesman sample, is worth about $2,500. If I owned this piece, I wouldn't sell it for a penny less than $5,000.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned.
The focus here is on this charming and practical antique item, a tabletop military campaign shaving mirror. The mirror is in a very impressive, well-preserved condition. It's completely untouched and very clean, yet maintains an age to it that adds to its character. The functionality of the folding design still works really well. It was made from oak and dates from around 1850. Taking these factors into consideration, the appraised value of this mirror is
around £200.
However, the guest purchases the mirror for
I'll give you 80 quid for that.
Yeah, go on then.
Thanks.
The guest brought in a large 3.1-liter stein inherited from their German mother-in-law's family. It is a German-made stein with incised decoration, a technique where the design is meticulously carved and then painted with rich colors. One of the most captivating aspects of the stein was the scene depicted, a man riding a high-wheeled bicycle. The artistry behind the scene was attributed to Schulz, a well-known artist who had worked for the prestigious Metlock factory. The Metlock name itself held significant weight in the world of stein collectors, as the factory produced highly sought-after steins known for their quality and craftsmanship. Further enhancing the stein's collectability were the numbered markings. The number 1817 acted as a unique identifier for this particular model and design, while the number 88, discreetly hidden on the side, revealed the year of manufacture, 1888. Considering the stein's large size, the reputation of the artist, the fact that it was crafted by the renowned Metlock factory, and its overall good condition, the estimated value is
If this came up at auction now, it should sell somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500.
Well, that's pretty nice.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's great.
Entering the shop, the guest's eyes land on a stunning pine chimney piece. Its presence is so captivating that they immediately inquire about its price. This particular piece, crafted in England around 1820, boasts remarkable originality, with the exception of stripped paint. Its clean lines and classic Georgian design envisions the grand marble surround it once held. Beyond its historical value and aesthetics, this chimney piece ignites a personal spark. It serves as a tangible reminder of the guest's original passion, fireplaces and architectural antiques. The guest simply can't resist the chimney piece's charm and decides to add it to their collection. It is a really interesting piece and was sold for
$150.
It's nice to buy one that I just have to have.
This unique table holds a fascinating history, dating back to 1959, when it was part of the kitchen exhibit sent by the U.S. to Moscow for a world exhibition. Designed by the Detroit industrial design firm Sundberg Ferrer, founded by Carl Sundberg, the table became the centerpiece of a historic event known as the Kitchen Debate. During a private showing for Vice President Nixon and Soviet Premier Khrushchev, a heated argument ensued.
It's got all the battle scars on it because we used it as a kitchen table.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a wonderful table with a great story.
For the exhibition, the table found its way into the guest's family kitchen, where it served as a dining and card table, accumulating battle scars from years of use. Made of rosewood, the table is a prime example of modern furniture, characterized by its
A newsreel at the very beginning. So we watched this newsreel about the kitchen debate.
Yeah.
accompanied by photographs from the event and an autographed picture of Nixon and Khrushchev. The table's historical and aesthetic value is evident. At auction, this kitchen debate table could fetch between
Said that the autograph, the photograph together would be $300 to $500.
Okay.
So on top of the table,
All right, a little
another
bonus.
another $300 or $500 for the photograph.
The focus here are these unique collection of miniature boat models. They are a captivating collection, and these models are clearly handcrafted rather than factory produced, demonstrating a love for detail and a connection to maritime history. While not meticulously crafted by a professional, their simplicity and personality add to their charm. The seller initially prefers to sell the entire collection as a single lot, perhaps recognizing that splitting them up might diminish their value and appeal. The appraised value of the entire collection is
Depends what you want.
$10 a pop. Wow, that's a very good price.
That's a very good price, yeah.
The piece presented today is from World War II. It's nose art, famously done by Allied soldiers. Nose art refers to the decorative paintings or designs often found on the noses or fuselages of military aircraft. And these nose arts were done on a B-17 plane, which was a prominent heavy bomber used by the Allies during World War II. A section like this of this nose art at retail would fetch
A section like this, retail, would easily be $10,000.
Oh my God.
A fine-looking musical instrument in the form of this violin is brought to the show today. The violin is a Pierre and Hippolyte Silvestre violin, which was made in Lyon in 1834. For a violin that old, most of its surface is still in perfect condition.
Copy of one of the great violin makers' works, Guarneri del Gesù of Cremona.
And it's actually a copy of one of the great violin makers' works, which is evident in the F-holes that lack a fluid look. This violin is highly sought after by violinists and would be worth,
I would place its value somewhere around $20,000 to $25,000.
Guest brought some posters to the show. The posters are from the 1940 movie called Black Friday and are called lobby cards. As the name suggests, these cards were meant to be put in the lobbies of theaters. There's also the title card, which has the portrait of the two stars of the movie.
The two stars, and that's the most important thing about these, that it's Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi.
A look at the border of these cards, which is finely done, would make one think they're 21st century produced cards. These cards from one of the most acclaimed horror movies of the 20th century are worth
Expensive one of the set. This card alone would probably be anywhere between $2,500 and $3,000 at auction. So you did well on $1.
Yes!
Symbol of triumph, this gleaming trophy is showcased before us by this guest, who found it while working on a demolition site in 1972.
That anything in the building you want, you can have, because this building's going to be down at 5 o'clock in the morning.
The trophy was handed out to recipients by the American Humane Association. Surprisingly, in the 1950s, the association began awarding trophies like this to animals. At the base of the trophy, names of the recipients and the year they were awarded are visible. However, the association stopped giving out these awards years later and handed the trophies to the Golden Globes in the 1970s.
At that time, it was part of the Foreign Press Association, which it still is, but they were given out for a number of years and called the Patsies.
It's very rare to come across a trophy like this because they were made for a short period of time and a long time ago. This one-of-a-kind trophy is in such good condition, and it's estimated to be worth.
The auction estimate would be somewhere between $800 and $1,200.
It was inherited by this guest from her cousin. The painting is one of the works of the exceptional artist William Mason Brown. W.M. Brown was an American artist well known for his beautiful paintings depicting nature.
I'll tell you a little bit about William Mason Brown. Okay. He was born in upstate New York in 1828.
Featured in the painting is a scenery with trees, a cottage, cows, water, and a beautiful backdrop of a detailed sky. Brown's signature is also visible at the bottom right-hand corner of the piece. The painting is dated circa 1850 to 1869, and it's titled The Old Homestead. At auction, this remarkably preserved painting with its provenance would fetch a considerable value of,
and for auction, I would estimate it between $30,000 and $50,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When you think of Scotland in sport, it's quite unusual to think of baseball. This guest presented a baseball hat, a ball, and a picture of his dad alighting from a plane on his way to a live game.
I spent about 7-8 days with the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time. He got to throw one of the first balls of the season.
The ball features different signatures on it from the Brooklyn Dodgers.
And this ball, signed presumably in 1952, you've got all of the signatures of the players and what looks like some of the owners.
However, due to the story attached to this piece of baseball history, at auction it would fetch,
I think, easily £4,000 to £6,000.
Wow.
Here today, a musical instrument called the English concertina, which was brought to the show by this esteemed guest. This piece is octagonal in shape and was crafted by a firm owned by Charles Wheatstone, a renowned English scientist and inventor responsible for many scientific breakthroughs of the Victorian era.
That's done with little jeweler's saws. It's all hand done. Oh. The more expensive the instrument, the more fretwork you got. And this is not the most expensive model. They made first mahogany ends, then rosewood ends. This is ebony ends.
The item features 6 folded leather bellows with ebony insand and was produced in the 1950s. The English concertina's keys are arranged similarly to those of a piano. At one end of the instrument, there is a meticulously handcrafted lattice design. The concertina is in pristine condition and holds significant importance in English music history. It is estimated to be worth
$1,500 or $1,600 or $1,700.
Really?
More than you thought?
Way more, by $1,500 more.
I have here a diamond and platinum bracelet that this guest inherited from her mother-in-law. This exquisite piece features a series of geometric patterns, characteristic of the Art Deco style, intricately crafted in platinum.
A caprice. It's not an investment. It's simply part of the most astonishing arrangements. Really the last gasp of luxury at that level, really. We never saw it again after the Second World War.
Adorned with brilliant cut diamonds, the bracelet sparkles with each stone meticulously set to maximize its brilliance.
And that implies that it's made between 1927 and the early 1930s.
The combination of sharp lines and intricate details makes it a true masterpiece of design that will sell for.
You would have to pay £150,000.
This bust of Cecil de Brunov marble sculpture is what appraisers would call a work of art. It was done by one of the most famous female sculptresses ever known in person of, China Orloff. Made from marble, this sculpture is a work of art that it required a great amount of expertise and manpower.
Her name is actually pronounced Chana Orloff.
Chana Orloff.
Yeah, and she was born in what's now Ukraine, and in 1905 her family fled to Palestine.
It was made in 1925 in honor of a French classical pianist named Cecil de Brunov. Chana was known to create portraits of successful people.
Portrait of Matisse, there's a portrait of Picasso, and just many, many other people.
And this piece is no different, aside from the fact that it was made with sheer precision. As it was made by a sculptress in person of Chana, this marble sculpture would auction at,
in a gallery, I would put it in the $30,000 to $50,000 range.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
The guest brought in an object identified as a war club from the Rennell Islands in the Solomon Micronesian complex. These clubs were used for throwing and were often decorated with intricate senet binding, like this example. This particular club dated back to the 1870s or 1880s and was likely used for ceremonial purposes. The club's origins and history made it a unique and valuable piece. The appraiser's expertise helped uncover the club's importance, and it was valued at
Putting a value of about $3,000 on it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
This is a rare archive, which reveals an intimate look into the teenage years of Jackie Robinson, who became the first African-American to play in Major League Baseball in the modern era.
Absolutely. We've got letters from the late 1930s. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947.
This archive showcases personal letters and friendships before his rise to sports legend. These letters, written by a teenage Robinson to a high school friend, provide a glimpse into his experiences at UCLA, his struggles with the curriculum, and close personal relationships.
These are personal to Jackie Robinson. Right, nothing to do with baseball, nothing to do with sports.
Notably, this archive includes Robinson's invitations and a rare 1938 signature, making it a historically significant collection that's worth.
At auction, we can see this fetching anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000.
Whoa,